Now, CNN producer Maria Rouge and our camera team went to speak with some of the families caught up in these child deportations at a shelter here in Kyiv today. First, there's Nastya, a 16-year-old who spent 4 months at a Russian camp in Crimea. Then Ksenia, who helped retrieve her own brother from Russia. And finally, a mother, Titania, recently reunited with her 2 teens. Here are their stories.
I was there for 4 months, and throughout these 4 months, I had to sing the Russian national anthem. That was compulsory. They said, if you don't sing the Russian anthem, you're not going to get anything. Then there was a woman there, a childminder, also from Kherson. I don't know what her story was, but she was seriously crazy. She beat children. There was one situation. I left the grounds. A boy used to visit me, climbing over the fence. Everyone knew about it and didn't care. It was allowed. So we sat inside the grounds in a little hideout where we almost couldn't be seen. She shouted, Nastya, Nastya, where are you? So I came back and my roommate told me, she's been looking for you. She said she would do something to you when you're back. So I said she wasn't allowed to do that, but let her try. So we had to do some laundry and we were going over to fetch it when she ran towards me, grabbed me, shook me, shoved me inside a room and started yelling and swearing at me. You scum, if this happens again, I know where to report you. I will send you to an orphanage. She struck me before she said it. I will report you to the police that you are a fugitive, that you fled Kherson to here, and you will be taken away.
It was a very difficult moment because when I came, I felt that my brother and I had grown apart. Not only had there been almost 1,000 kilometers between us, and we didn't see each other for 9 months, we'd also grown apart because of the psychological pressure put on him. So when we met, I could see he was very tormented. When I wanted to hug him, sincerely, because I had missed him a lot, he went through the motions. He didn't even look my way. When I asked standard questions like, how are you, what's new, he just sat there twisting his jumper. I could see he was nervous. I understood I was being faced with the fact that he didn't want to come with me. He was comfortable there. He had friends there. There was a war on. It was bad. Everything he'd been told by those around him. That there was a war on, all these Ukrainian Nazis. I was very scared because although I'm not a very convincing person, I was sure I would be able to convince him. I tried everything I could to get us talking, and while we talked, I was messaging Katerina, the volunteer, that I can't persuade him, he doesn't want to come, but eventually I managed to persuade him. I couldn't believe I had managed to bring him close to me, and in a few hours we could be on our way.
Какие чувства? Было очень страшно, что я больше не побачу детей своих.
How did I feel? It was very scary. I was worried I would never see my children again. That feeling that you would never see your children again. I can't describe it. It is impossible to find words to describe it. This fear, this worry, I can't put it into words. Thank God we got help, that we were able to come home. And I am together with these children. I hugged my children, felt them next to me. It was an indescribable feeling for sure. My mind was at rest. We were together at last. And now we would travel this road together.
Цей путь будемо проходити разом.
Arranging these incredible reunions is the work of my next guest. Mykola Kuleba is the CEO of Save Ukraine, and he's joining me right now here in Kyiv. So welcome to the program. That must really warm your heart when you think you can rescue these young people who've been forcibly removed and put them back into the arms of their family.
On the one hand, but on the other hand, it's traumatized me a lot because when I understand how many kids were deported, forcibly deported, how many orphans kidnapped, I understand it is genocide of Ukrainian nation, a genocide of Ukrainian children. It is state policy of Putin's administration to brainwash our kids, Russify kids, kidnap kids, and to prepare militaries from Ukrainian children for future war.
So you're saying that a lot of them get trained to go into the Russian military ranks?
Oh yeah, many of kidnapped children reporting us after we reunificated them with their families and returned them, that they Russian promised, give them passports, give them certificates for a house, for example, or money, and send them to military schools.
Which means they could be sent back to fight in Ukraine eventually if this goes on forever.
Yeah, it is thousands of young adults who've been school children 9 years ago after first invasion, now fighting against Ukraine.
Seriously?
Really?
You never got those ones back?
It is official data. It's tens of thousands of people were killed, Lugansk mobilized to Russian army and killed for the last 9 years. Who are they? Many of them, it's young adults who've been Ukrainian children. Many of them was adults too, but it was previous Ukrainian citizens.
It's really Kafkaesque when you put it this way. And I assume when you use the word genocide, which is a legal term, you're talking about what? Why do you call it genocide?
Many people don't understand this, but genocide, it's not only when during World War II Germans burned people and killed people, but Putin's strategy is convert children, Russify these kids, to destroy Ukrainian identity. This is genocide when he taking Ukrainian ethnic group and move them, deport them to Russia Federation and destroy Ukrainian identity.
So as we know, the International Criminal Court has essentially agreed and has actually indicted Putin and his main female commissioner on children on the forcible deportations. So how are you now able to get them back? How many have you been able to reunite? And it's a massive journey, I understand.
Yeah, we returned the biggest number of kids, 161 today. But
today?
It's
up to today? Or
up to today,
right.
Yeah. But it's many more kids who stay in there. Right. But every day, it's a huge trauma. Every day, for us, we are losing thousands of kids because they're receiving Russian citizenship and they make decision to stay in Russia. Yeah, and we have plans to return more, but after ICC decision, harder and harder to return kids.
Is that right?
Yes, because Russia block any returns. They don't want to allow any child to come back. And I can tell you a lot of stories when children were stopped and or parents or relatives were stopped or arrested or deported back to Ukraine, interrogated. And just now, one lady, its grandmother, asked Maria Lvova office, told
the
her,
Russian commissioner,
yeah, you should have DNA test. We don't believe your documents. DNA, 2 months in Russia, they did not allow this child, it's a sick child, to return with the grandmother.
And it's so difficult because, of course, it's across the border, but nobody can just go across the border to get their children. So the Russians have said, in some cases, if you want them, you have to come here. So you have organized, right? There's a massive route, Poland and up and around and back. I mean, it takes forever.
Yeah, it's weeks of traveling to take, but maybe it's not as the hardest thing. But FSB interrogations, lie detections, DNA tests, and other things. And really, they hugely traumatize not only kids, but adults or relatives who are going there and trying to take child back.
So they come to you for help. Do you have to have liaison with the Russian authorities? How can they just, Ukrainians just go into Russia, take these kids and take them out? Is there an arrangement? Oh,
it's very hard because many relatives really afraid to go there. But that brave people who are ready to do this, we help them to prepare all documents, to travel there. We covered all expenses in Russia, Belarus, Poland, and help them to take this child back. But not all stories successful. Because why it's so hard to take them back? Because we document these crimes. It is a war crimes. That's why Russians try to stop any rescue.
And we heard some of the, certainly the young girl Ksenia talking about her even younger brother, who was clearly psychologically traumatized by this and I guess brainwashed by the Russians. Do you see that a lot? I mean, almost like Stockholm Syndrome. She thought he didn't want to come back.
Yeah, it's every child traumatized. Every child. It depends of the age. It depends of time, how long they stay in Russia. But this Sergei is 11 years old boy. He's orphan. He was separated with his sister and brainwashed. And can you imagine when sister come, he told, no, I don't want, because Nazi will kill me. And many children told us that they believe that Ukraine not exist anymore because Russian told them, oh, we invaded all Ukraine. You no need to go there. Ukraine no need your relatives. Your relatives no need you. You can stay here. And we are talking not about several stories. It's tens of thousands children who've been brainwashed and who've been kidnapped.
And Ksenia and Sergei, the brother and sister, you say they're orphans, so what is their future now that they're back here?
It is a special story because Ksenia, today, first day when she went to university. She will study in university, and I found a great family for Sergei, and they will adopt Sergei and he will live in family. Because after returning, especially orphans, we are not placing them to the orphanages, but we're finding good Ukrainian families who can care and adopt this child.
I want to end by playing something that you've probably seen a lot, and that is Maria Lvova-Belova talking to Putin, months ago about this process, and this is how they frame it. Let's play it.
Did you adopt a child from Mariupol yourself?
Yes, thanks to you. 15 years old. Now I know what it means to be a mother of a child from Donbass. It's difficult, but we definitely love each other.
What goes through your mind when you see that? Clearly a staged conversation.
It is genocide. It is really, I will tell you shortly, metaphor. What does it mean for me? Because many people don't understand what happened in Ukraine. For example, I'm living and my neighbors came to my home, raped my wife, killed me, for example. It's like example, yeah? And burn my house and then heard, oh, children crying. And come back and take these kids to their homes. And next day, people come to these people and say, why you killed a man, rape and killed women, kidnapped child? No. Look at my cameras. And look, I'm taking kids from burning house. I saved their lives. Russians doing this. They kidnapping children, they raping, they killing, but they won't tell you. We are saving their lives. We are rescuing them. We placing them to loving Russian families. This is genocide. They killing our kids, their identity. They killing Ukrainian children.
And you have done so much to get as many as you can back. Mykola Kuleba, thank you so much indeed. Save Ukraine.